Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another LCS report. I'm Rob, he's Nick, and we always lead off with the most important question of the day. Nick, how are you, my friend?
Good. I'm excited for this episode in particular, because we have some extra time in between the few weeks, and I don't know. I'm excited to get into it today.
Yeah, me too, me too. I mean, I think, going through standings and picks and power rankings, all this stuff is really fun. I think it can be very informative and lead to good discussions, but I think these sort of creative episodes are going to be fun for us. And today's episode, we're going to be doing MVPs. Now, I know we're not technically at the midpoint. We're technically 2 games past it, but whatever. There's still 5 games left. We're going to be picking our MVP for each team, and then we're going to be picking our overall MVP so far. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're going to try to spend just a couple minutes on each team. We're going to begin with Shopify Rebellion. Who has been your MVP? Nick, I will let you start first.
Okay. Um, let's see. This is a tough one because I do think that Shopify has been more of a team effort than a lot of teams have.
Sure.
I think that I think that I'm going to have to give it to this is actually the toughest team for me, I think. Uh, I'm stuck between two players. I'm gonna have to give it to Zazel, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
That was not who I
yeah,
was
I
expecting at
think
all.
that I think that before this week, I think that I probably would get it to like Insanity or Boogie. I think that also there's an option for B-Boy because I think he has
Mm-hmm.
played very well, but he hasn't played the whole season.
Sure.
He
Sure.
didn't play the first 2 games, so that was kind of iffy for me. I think Zazel has, juggled 2 different 80 carries in the wins against top teams. Even if they weren't smashing the lane, they were getting 2v2 advantages that weren't expected against the likes of FBI, Huhi, Berserker, Vulcan, right?
Sure.
So I think that I also thought about I think that it's kind of a process of elimination one because I wanted to say Insanity because I think that his champion pool is really fun
Mm-hmm.
and his tank picks have allowed Boogie to be more carry focused and really showcase his creativity in pathing, which I think is Boogie's greatest strength as a jungler.
Yeah.
But they went away from that style these 2 weeks, and I actually managed at the Lunar New Year party. Me and Zazel were talking, and he said that they were trying to be a bit more successful on the conventional picks. So I think they're still figuring that out. So I think overall, I would have to give it to Zazel. I know that he's a big shot caller in that team, and I think that he seemed so unfazed and unsurprised when they beat these top teams because I think he can see between the lines and he's definitely the on rift leader of this team for sure. So I think that it's kind of been a different guy for Shopify in multiple games, which has been fun. But I think if I had to give it to one guy, it's Zazel.
Okay. I love that. I was going to give it to Boogie because I think just
That's
based
fair.
on my expectations for him last year when he came in and just what he's been able to do, he's just the difference is I've seen him become a much better team player than he was initially, right? Like everybody knew he could hit challenger in every region, whatever, right? But the fact that he's been able to come in, I think, and have such a great influence on the team, be the carry when they need to, be able to, I think, play objectives a lot, more consistently. Um, I won't dive too much into it, but I do think that Boogie is probably the guy for me personally. Although I was gonna also potentially pick Insanity because I just think the world of him, and I really hope that this team finds a way to make the playoffs because I think that every team, once they make playoffs, should be scared to death that this dark horse team. Not that I think they're gonna win the LCS, but I think they're gonna create some serious problems for the rest of this
Yeah,
team. So um,
yeah.
yeah, with that, we're gonna move on to our next team. Like I said, we want to try to make sure we
I'll try
get
to be
through
quick
every
about
team.
this.
So no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. This is good. I would say let's go with NRG next. I think that's a good spot. So I will start first. This one is tough for me. Um, I think Dang. You know what? Give me 2 seconds. I thought I knew for sure. Now I'm questioning myself. Um. Okay. You know what? I am gonna give it to contracts. I think even though I talked some trash about him, not exactly trash, but I think some constructive criticism about him and some of the plays they were making last week. I do still think he's the driver for this team and their wins, and I think that that's not something that can be understated. To be honest with you, I think it's really important. People should talk about it more because it's not just about the kills, it's not just about the deaths, it's not just about the goal difference. It's about who makes plays and who is setting the rest of the team up for success. That's a really big, important part of what I consider to be great for a team. I know he still had some dud games. I totally understand that, but I do think that contracts is kind of the engine that makes this NRG train move forward. And I feel like we're still seeing that even on a team that's generally underperforming. So that's my MVP. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I kind of went sort of. I think contracts is kind of like you said, the sort of the catalyst. He's the go button for like what NRG does. NRG as a whole, I think, has had heroes from multiple games, right?
Yep.
And but they've also been inconsistent. So I went for who I thought's been consistently the best player on this team, and that's Palafox.
Okay.
I think Palafox has been very strong. I think he has remained a top mid laner in the region, to say the least. I think that his I think his team fighting has been improved, and I think that he is. It's like if Contract's the train driving it, like Palafox is the coal tender, right? Like because
Sure.
at some point, if
Sure.
you're gonna
Yeah.
run out of steam, but Palafox is a constant threat. He's constantly at worst going even. Like he's been pretty freaking solid on a team that really needs consistency, and especially I think I was one of the few people of the opinion that were like, oh well, he's like the clear best mid laner in the league last year, and I'm like, yes, obviously he's very good. I
Yeah.
also think that if we put Jensen on a good team, we'll see what happens, right? And Jensen's on a good team now, and I think Jensen's been great. That
Yeah.
being said, I think Palafox has been right in step with JoJo and Jensen in his own right, and I think that I have to give it to him for this one.
Okay. No, I love that. I think that he has been, I think, one of the more consistently better than I expected players as well. I think that's a lot of this NRG team, though,
For sure.
for a lot of
Yeah.
people. But, I love it. I think this is fun. I'm glad we also are having different players so far, which has been, I think, kind of
Well, you
nice.
chose like the two hardest teams to do MVP to start with. Thanks, Rob.
You're
Like
welcome,
those are
by
I'm
the
like, oh,
way.
these are the two.
We'll get him out of the way,
These are the
man.
toughest ones.
We'll
That's
get
fair.
him
That's
out of the
fair. That's
way,
fair.
right?
There's a few teams where I have like a one sentence answer, and you just picked the the hardest ones to start with. So,
Well, I think I'm going to pick another hard one then. Immortals. Let's get
all
these
right.
bottom tier
Oh,
teams out of the way right now.
this one's easy.
You think so? Okay, I'm interested.
This is this This would have been even easier if Castle didn't turn out to be legit as hell on Aatrox. And in general, I think Castle has exceeded expectations, but
He has played
it's
well.
obvious. It's Ole, right?
Yeah,
It's Ole. Ole's the
absolutely.
carry of this team. Ole drags his team to wins on incredible team fighting. If Tactical gets a good start in lane and carries the game, it's because Ole got him there. I'm not trying to take anything away from the other players, but like if Ole has a bad game, this Immortals team goes they lose. He is the linchpin to their success, and I attribute again I tweeted about how happy I've been with Castle, someone I didn't know much about outside of the fact that he spent like time as Keen's understudy on Freaks in Korea, but I think he's been incredibly good. Very quietly one of the strongest top laners in the region. But if we're talking about the team's identity and success, I mean it's got to be Ole, no
Yeah.
question.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think he has come back and really showed that he hasn't lost much of a step. Like there are still plays where I don't think
No,
he's doing what he could be doing, and I wonder how he would be doing on some of these top tier teams. Not that they need a new support, but like I almost wonder like it's kind of like a fun thought experiment as to like would Ole really make this team like a lot better, right? Like, or
yeah,
is it just
yeah.
that maybe he gets to shine because Immortals doesn't have as much, right? It's always those kind of back and forth conversations,
I
but
think
I agree
yeah.
with you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's no. I think it is. He gets more of a chance to shine because I don't think we've seen. Tactical is only a carry threat as well as his lane goes, which Ole has a part in. Castle's been very good individually, but isn't necessarily taking over games all the time. He occasionally takes over a team fight when the situation's been set up well. But
Sure.
and Mask is a carry threat on Jason, that's kind of it. Like he's not been bad on other champions necessarily, but
He
Jace is
hasn't been
kind of
good
his best
either.
pick. That's been yeah, exactly. He's been pretty mid except for his Jace. Jace is getting banned against them. So oftentimes Ole playmaking on a pick like Bard is actually the carry threat of this team, and I think that can't be understated, especially since they've exceeded expectations so far.
Well, I love it. I do. I think it's a great way to put it. I think the next team we'll go with is Dignitas. And I have had some thoughts, but then I realized that they might be dumb thoughts. And so instead, I'm going to.
I have that.
Uh,
I have that idea a lot.
it's a life thing for both of us. But I think that mine's going to be
I
XU.
had some thoughts, then I was like, "This is stupid. I'm not going to say it." No, go for it. Go for it.
I'm between two players, and I think I'm gonna go with XU for right now. I just think that he has been so much better than I thought he was. Like, he came up a little bit last year, didn't really impress me all that much, but it feels like when he's getting these engaged champions, when he's able to really, I think, kind of almost lead his way through the game. I don't know. It's like it's been fun to watch. Like he's taking, I think, really good calculated risks. I think he is setting up the rest of his team, I think, in really important ways. And I almost picked Tomo just because Tomo has been um, such a, I think, surprise to me as well. I think he's played even better than I thought, and I did think pretty highly of him. But I think a lot of the reason why they're doing what they're doing is because of XU, and I think that
Yep.
it's really important for a young player to play with confidence. I think sometimes that can be literally the difference between no matter how talented you are, a good player and a bad player, right? And he's
Yeah.
playing with confidence right now, and he's playing, I think, with his team behind him. And we may have a new really good young jungler that's gonna continue to make waves. I mean, he was doing it back on like Dark Wings and all these other crazy amateur teams as well, but it just didn't look like it was going to translate as well at the LCS level, and I've been really glad that I've been so wrong about that.
Yeah, I agree with you that Tomo and Isles as a bot lane have exceeded expectations, but Xy's the clear pick here.
Yeah,
He's had really, really consistently strong early games. Even in the matches, I remember C9's match against Dig, where Dig got absolutely slaughtered. The first 4 or 5 minutes was Xy winning the jungle matchup and almost throwing Blabber fully off balance with a well timed invade. Uh, Anytime Dig is doing anything good, it starts there. So I
yeah,
completely agree with you.
yeah. No, I think that that's making it easy to pick for Dignitas, and we'll have to see if they can continue
Yeah.
their ascent up into the playoff realms. But um, oh man, because I think I got how many teams do we still have? We got Immortals, Shopify, Dignitas done, NRG done. So we got 4 teams left. Let's go Team Liquid. I'll let you start. Where are you thinking with Team Liquid?
This is a tough one because I feel like they've been so up and down.
Yeah, no, I
I
completely
think we've
agree
seen
with you.
some really good stuff from them, and also some not very good stuff. I think, and it's going to be kind of a cop out answer, but it's going to be impact for me. I don't
Okay.
really see one person pulling more weight on this team than the rest of the team, and so when I look at the rest of it, I think Umti has had good games and also not been on the same page with his team. Not necessarily his fault, but that's a thing. APA has had some great games and some terrible games.
Yep.
Core has been mostly good, and then he had that Bard game where I was just like, this is the worst Core GJ game I've ever seen in my life.
It was so
I think
bad.
that like and then the Lucian Nami games, and I mean that's yeah. So I give it to Impact just because I think that he has been remarkably consistent. He hasn't been perfect, but this Team Liquid team's still a hard one to figure out. This is
Mhm.
there were 3 teams that I had trouble with, which is Shopify, NRG, and Team Liquid. And yeah, I mean, I think that I think it'll be more clear. I think it's really easy to say Jan because I think Jan's had a good start to
Yeah,
his
it's a good
second year
split.
of LCS play.
Hmm.
But I also see a team completely putting all the eggs in the Jan basket and succeeding. And I think that's more indicative of the team strengths and weaknesses right now than necessarily him. Not that he's played poorly. So I'd have to give it to Impact, but like I could be convinced a different way. It's kind of like the guy who's sucked the least. I guess I don't know. Like
And yet they
it's
are a
Team
third
Liquid's a
place
tough one for
team.
me.
That's what's crazy.
That's because this league sucks, man. I don't even know what's happening. Like it's like why we have like what only 3 teams over 500 of the 8, and it's like not that it sucks. It's that the parity is so high that it's really hard to tell. It's like we had the whole talk last week. Who's good? Who's not? Is anyone good? Is everyone bad? Who knows? It's and Team Liquid I think has been particularly hard to pin down. So I'm gonna say Impact for now. But if someone thinks I'm wrong and has a good argument, I'm happy to hear it because they were even tougher than Shopify and NRG for me. I would say.
I'm going to give you an argument for
Okay.
APA. And here's why. I don't know that
Okay.
there's been a more scrutinized player in the LCS this entire offseason, this entire
Okay.
first half of the split. And I think he has shown new picks. He has shown old picks. He has shown great flashes. He has shown terrible flashes. And he has talked a lot of great trash. And so,
Yeah.
because of the fact that his mental, at least outwardly, and at least in game, I think too, has shown to be so strong, I'm going to give it to him because, again, like, I think we are just now hitting the point where he would be technically through his first split in terms of games. So,
Yeah.
in terms of regular
That's
season
fair.
games, to be clear. And so I want to give him credit where credit is due. Like, he's still playing his lanes pretty well. He's winning on things other than Ziggs, right? He is showing an ability, I think, to be like every game I've watched his positioning, and I feel like every game has gotten a little bit better. Not markedly better, but a little bit. It's like each game there's a new step for him that he is taking. And so, and again, like, I mean, he's the most, even in freaking like Korea, like Pioshik got interviewed. I think it was maybe by Ashley Kang. I can't remember who it
I
was.
saw that.
Yeah, and they were asking him about APA. Like, just leave this dude alone. Let him play his games. Like, I like, yes, I know he's talking trash, but I think he kind of came to the like conclusion of, I might as well talk trash. Everybody's talking about me anyways, right? Like, why the hell not?
Yeah.
And it's like, if nobody on this team is gonna stand out, because I don't even think Impact has really stood out, at least to me. I don't think he's been bad, but I don't think
No.
that he's stood out. So to me, I think if he is gonna have this kind of mental fortitude and be able to really truly be, I think, a strong player for this team, and hopefully one that will continue to improve and be, like, I mean, hell, guys, Palafox had similar issues coming in, and nobody gave him this much shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to me.
Well, hold on. He got plenty of his
Not like
share of
this.
garbage
Not like this.
on
Not on
FlyQuest. That's
international
because
stages and on off
well, that's
season
because
hitting
FlyQuest
full
wasn't good.
blade. I
I agree
I
with
don't
you. I think
know. I
Team Liquid was immediately better with APA, which I think speaks to whereas Palafox debuted on a struggling FlyQuest that finished ninth that year, right?
No, I know.
Whereas,
I'm just
yeah,
talking
I get
about like a current.
so
My comparison was, to be clear,
yeah,
that Palafox has turned into one of the best mid laners because he had time and people were
right,
patient with
right,
him. Do that with
yes,
APA. That's all I was gonna say. I'm not saying that
I
like
completely agree with you.
yeah,
No,
I'm
I
not
completely
saying
agree
that
with
the
you.
way that they play or their situations were the same necessarily. It's more that like we have to give these young guys time. That's all. That's all I want
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
And I think with APA, I will be a staunch defender of him as long as he continues to find ways to be better, and to not be the reason why this team is losing. And sure, he's probably got at least one loss of their four that's on him, but there are other players that are
yeah,
within
yeah.
those
It
three,
was.
right?
Yeah, it
So
was game one. It was game one
yeah,
where he
it
went like
was
oh
game
four
one.
on Ziggs.
Yep.
but
And
uh, but
so
yeah, since then it's been fine. He's had a good Azir game. His ASOL was, his picks, his APA picks and his non-APA picks have been good. So I like the shout out there, and I
yeah,
think that he's probably I will say even if he hasn't played like an MVP, his continued improvement and good performance is the most vital X factor to Team Liquid going from a decent team to a great team. I'll give you that for sure. If he
same.
can continue to play well and improve, they're going to be. I'll give you that. Yeah.
I can't wait for somebody to get mad at me about this one. But hey, you know what? Bring it on. If I got to be the APA defender, I will join hands with him. We'll take you all down. But we will move on. We got 3 teams left. I think it's time to talk about 100 Thieves. And I think we both have a very clear
Yeah.
and easy answer. We're going to say it on 3, okay? And it's not It's going to be
All
one,
right.
2, 3, and then we say it. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Let's see if we get this. One, two,
All right.
three. River.
River.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
little
No,
off
it's
because of the timing of our internet, but we nailed
yeah,
it. We were
but
both on the
it's
same
River.
page.
It's River.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
I
to be,
think I
dude.
mean, and not to take away things, I mean, first of all, I mean, we could talk for
Quid.
hours about how smooth Sniper has acclimated.
Yep.
His transition to big league play has been amazing.
Oh, without a
Um,
doubt.
we could talk about Quid is for me the if this keeps going, I mean, he's the clear like what was is it comeback player or most
Most
improved player that
improved.
Licorice won
Oh,
last year?
yeah. I don't even think it's close. I think he's
Quinn
the only
is
one.
Quinn is the front runner by a mile. He's playing so well. I'm so glad he got Player of the Week this week. He deserved it.
Hmm.
He's looked awesome. Um, so not to take away from him, but I mean, I mean, Rivers' impact on this team cannot be understated. When he's shot calling like High does with like the 1v9 comms. Other people are
Hmm.
getting more involved, but I mean, he's just quietly like constantly keep like making these early game plays. And for the record, like their early games aren't always like they're not stopping every early game, but like
No.
they're always active. Even if there's a punch being thrown, they're counter punching. Like they're never just keeling over. And like Rivers just been. I'd have River as I think he's been the best jungler in the league personally. So
Oh,
it's hard for me not to put him here.
wow.
And
Those are some fighting
right
words.
right now, right now I do. Yeah. Because I think that I mean if we look at where this team is and what's elevated them to get there, I mean, his impact cannot be understated. And I'd love to, and maybe I can, I mean, hopefully I'll get the opportunity to do this. I would love to talk to the guys around River. And as we have these young guys, Meech has played well also, who was very good on Disguise. I'd love to talk to them and see if they agree with me because talking to Golden Glue, the head coach, like River is, I mean, he is so crucial to what's going on here. And for every great play you see that surprised you from Sniper, or for every exceeding of expectations from Quid, which I think is awesome to see, I don't think we even get here to that point without River.
Well, and let's not forget about the top kill leader in the LCS, Meech. You know,
That's
and
true. No,
Ava,
Meech is
like they've
he's been
been
good.
great. They've been so under like
Yeah, that's
this
true.
team has been
That's
so
true.
much fun, and it's exactly. I give myself one pat on the back. I think every episode. I said that I thought River would be enough in episode 1. I think of this show
You did.
to be able to
You did.
drive this team forward, and I have never felt so freaking vindicated on something that I literally just it was just a gut feeling. I'm telling you, I didn't have necessarily the stats. Like I've only talked to River maybe once, I think. I'm pretty sure I interviewed him like 2 years ago, maybe when he first got in. But I just think this team is so much fun to watch. I would argue that they are the most entertaining team in the LCS, and it's just the way that they
Yep,
are able to go
I
into
agree.
games. They play well. I think Quid has well exceeded my expectation. I mean, like 10x them, especially this split. He's been my, yeah, I guess most improved at a minimum. But
For
this team
sure.
is in a position to win 2 of their next 5 games and guarantee a playoff spot. That's how well they've been playing.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think it's likely that they do that.
I think so
Like,
too.
I don't know. I don't know if they're a top two team, but I don't think they're not a playoff team either. Like I think they're there and I think they're
I
gonna be you can't underestimate this team for
Can you
sure.
imagine
They're
them in
the real deal.
finals? I feel like that'd be so fun. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean,
I
there are 4 other teams
I
that I would have
can.
thought would make it before them, but they're
Yeah.
there,
I
and yeah, it's mainly because of
I can
River.
imagine them there. I don't think it'd be incredible. I don't think it'd be like 100% likely, but there's a scenario where that does happen, and it's entirely because of the strengths that we've been talking about. It's like I can't speak enough towards a team that's led by River, and all the other pieces are exceeding expectations and working out. Meech's translation has to LCS has been pretty seamless.
Yep.
Snipers has been great. We talked about Quid, which is nice. I mean, I think that I'm glad I didn't agree with him getting re-signed, but then I was like, well, you're a non-English speaking mid laner on a double lift roster. Like maybe that's not the greatest place to start your career if you're trying to look good as a mid laner. Like
And we're seeing that you're
you're just
right.
not going to be like yeah, and it's and not that that means it's just that's just it's harder to shine. But he's been kind of but it's hard for me to call him the main carry of the team because it's not been the case. I mean, Quid's put in so much work. Quid's team fighting has been absurd, and then Sniper's playmaking on carries and tanks alike. His Cassante has been great, which I think I highlighted as a great pick for him because it is a tank
It's
that really
both.
does have the instincts of a fighter champion. The way you play it as a fighter champion, but then he's tanky. It's I think that's really helped, and we're seeing. I would love to see if that champion specifically has been a big deal on maybe that was why it was a bit easier for him to translate to tank play in a way that maybe his older brother Viper didn't always consistently do. We never had a pick like Kisante, like at that point in time. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
point is, River. It comes down to River. I think this team is eighth place without River, regardless of how good their laners have been. I oftentimes it's not that it's like, oh, like, Sniper's got some solo kills, but oftentimes it's like within a certain game state, someone comes up big, especially in team fights. These guys are great team fighters.
Oh, without a
And to
doubt.
get to that state and to get into that game state and get through these early games that have been active, but oftentimes counter punches, right? Like they're not winning in early games very often. They're usually
No,
winning in like mid or late games. And I
which is
have to
crazy.
attribute that to good shot calling and stuff like that. And it comes back to River for me. I think just throughout you can say something good about everybody on 100 Thieves, but the clear MVP has to be that guy for me.
I gotta agree with you. I love him. I love him. We still
I
got
would
Cloud
also say
Nine
really quick,
and
if
and
I
FlyQuest.
know, really quick though, if we do coaching staff, if we'll talk about coaching staff at some point.
Yeah.
100 Thieves coaching staff gets if the season ends today, 100 Thieves gets coaching staff at the split for sure. Their draft's been awesome. I think that they also deserve some credit, but on the Rift, Rivers the clear front runner for sure.
Hey, they're doing what other teams can't, and that's play as a team and win as a team. And I think
Yeah,
sometimes that's really forgotten about in a team game like League of Legends. But unfortunately, we do have to move on because we have two left. We have Cloud9
yeah,
and
let's do it.
FlyQuest. I think we're gonna honor FlyQuest by putting them last to give them a little extra time.
That's fair.
Let's go
That's
with
fair.
Cloud9.
Yeah,
And I really am struggling to decide between Blabber and JoJo right now. Um, Mainly just because I think that they both have done things well differently, also well. Um, like it feels like JoJo plays well even when he's like in spite of getting like absolutely targeted by teams, which is crazy to me. I don't want to give it to anybody in the bot lane because I think that they've not like I actually don't think either of them have been very good. They've not been terrible, but not
no,
good. And I think Fudge is just doing his thing at the top lane. It almost feels like he really is on an island right now. Like he just has no influence over these games, sadly, because it's not. There's nothing
yeah,
that
he's
he
not.
can do. To be clear, this is not a knock on him. It's just they just are playing at different levels. And so I think for right
Yeah,
now, I think I'm going to give it to Blabber just because I think that he has been in the right place at the right times a lot more often and has been a big reason for their wins that they have gotten. I know he has also
yep,
struggled and led them to some losses, but I just believe that I just have to believe that arguably the best NA, I think at least future wise, NA player of all time, and I will make that argument one day, um, deserves some credit for clearly things are not working out, but Blabber has always found a way to find success, and I still think that this team is being barely floating, but keeping their heads above water with him. So that's my
yeah.
very small
Um,
spiel on Blabber.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, any other time I pick Berserker for this, I think when you watch Cloud9 get stomped internationally or whether having bad games, it's always Berserker's so consistent, but that
Yep,
has not been the case this year. I don't think it's always been his fault, but he's not had that same level of impact for one reason or another.
sure.
Whereas at least in, I mean, well, Blabber hasn't had a great game every game. He's been electric in the games they have won, and
Yep,
I think that it's. I mean, everybody on C9 has stumbled and underperformed. That's why we're where we are with them right now. So I think
yep,
you have to give it to Blabber for the person who's actually shown up. And that first week, he was, he got Player of the Week for a reason. He was, single-handedly winning those games. So
yeah.
I would like for that to not be the case because I think that Blabber is a good enough team around him that he doesn't have to single-handedly win games. But right now, that's definitely it has to be Blabber. So yeah,
Okay, there we go. We've spent so much time on Cloud9. I'm glad we kept that one shorter because people are probably tired
yeah,
of hearing our
well, too
thoughts on
much.
Cloud9. But let's give love to
Yeah,
FlyQuest, man. Holy crap. This team has been
tough
so
one.
fun. I think there are a lot of really good players, and it's not just because I'm generally a jungle main. But dude, I'm taking Inspired here. I'm sorry, I just can't. This man just goes on to teams. It doesn't matter where he goes, and he plays well. And every team that loses him, by the way, is dumber for letting him go. I'm just putting it out there. I
No,
don't
you're right.
care who it
No,
is.
you're right.
I don't care if it's Rogue. I like all the way over in the LEC. Like, think about if he had stayed in the LEC. Whatever team he would have been on would have been competing with G2. Hell, G2 may have gotten him instead of Yike. I don't know, but like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah,
this team has been so good. They've been really consistently good too, and they've allowed for the bot lane to catch up to a point now where I'm wondering if Masu and Busio may end up like being the ones to pick up the slack when the top lane or the top side of the map finally does make a mistake. But it doesn't feel like they're going to. Like Whippo and Jensen have been
yeah,
so consistent. The bot lane is figuring it out, and Inspired is just so damn good. He's just always
yeah,
making plays. He is always setting up the objectives. I feel like in such a not even unique, but just he's like a wall almost when you're there. Even if he's not playing like a tank champion, it's just like he's a force to be reckoned with. And when he's on whatever side of the map, wherever he is on the map, you could almost feel his presence because you are waiting for him to make a play. And that's the way I feel when I'm watching
yeah.
him. And so, um, I just want to say like now, like he's probably going to be my MVP pick. We're going to talk about them in general, but I figure if he's my MVP right now for this team, and he's almost assuredly my MVP of the first half. But I want to hear your thoughts first before I dive too deep into that one.
No, I'm with you. I've been happy with the bot lane growth for FlyQuest. It's nice for Jensen to show people that I didn't think he was a bad player in Dignitas like everybody else did. I didn't think
Yeah.
that he was washed up. I think he's great. I think he's fine. But Bwipo and Inspired coming back after Bwipo was playing well after not playing for a year. Inspired was off for like 8 months, and I have to give it to Inspired as well. I think that you could kind of make an argument for multiple guys on the top side, but sort of the same thing. He's the most consistent. He's always bringing things all together. And I think, like River and Inspired are our two best junglers right now. So I don't have anything more to add than you already did. It's definitely Inspired for me too.
Well, and he's played 7 different champions so far in 9
I didn't
games.
realize that. That's epic.
7.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he just whatever he picks, he finds a way to I think make it work.
Hmm.
Like it's just he's a great player, and I really do think that this FlyQuest team is not getting talked about enough. It sounds stupid, but like everybody, including us, have been so concerned with NRG and Cloud9. Like, where are they? Why aren't they doing better? That it's almost feels like FlyQuest are being overlooked. Like, I do think the gap, even though it's only one game between FlyQuest and 100 Thieves, I do think the gap at this very moment is at least one full whatever you want to put in the middle there, right? Like, I really do think
Yeah.
I think it is FlyQuest, something else, or nobody else maybe, and then 100
Hmm.
Thieves, right? Like, there's just
Yeah.
a clear, you know, line between these teams right now. And do I think it's going to stay that way? I still stand by the fact that I feel for some reason like FlyQuest are going to flame out in playoffs, and I don't know why. There's just my gut's telling me that, and I'm scared because I really do enjoy this team, and I am a huge Inspired fan. But like, there's just something in my gut that's telling me that it's not going to work out. Regardless, for right now, they deserve it, and I'm not going to say too much more on my like my midseason MVP. I was choosing between River and Inspired. I think right now, just because there is such a difference in skill level, I think I have not between the players but between the teams. I think I have to give it to Inspired. But I am very
Okay.
much like, you could convince me that it should be River too, because he really is leading this team. I think like nobody else is leading their team. I think Inspired's
Yeah.
the only one that's even close to that, but it's just that his team is just better. At least
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
We'll see if that continues. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
I'm gonna save some points on FlyQuest for our FlyQuest episode next week because I think there's some in terms of them being overlooked. I do think that there's a some interesting things to go into there. But I'm gonna say that for this, I'll just go with my MVP, which is the other side of your coin. Mine is River.
Okay, I like
And I
it.
think that if I was doing my votes, I think Inspired would probably be second. Because I think it depends on what you value. I think Inspired is maybe been a better player than River. I personally have River still higher on my All Pro junglers, but I can be convinced. MVP, I cannot be convinced because for me personally, right now, looking at things, I'm always like, who's doing more with less, and that's not even close for me.
Yeah,
Not to take away anything from Sniper and Quid, but it's Sniper and Quid and Weibo and Jensen. Like nothing like it's like that's come on. I think that just when we look at FlyQuest is the better team for sure.
yeah,
When we look at what we expected from 100 Thieves compared to what we expected from FlyQuest, it's night and day. And I think that both teams have benefited a bit from energy and C9 struggling, but we'll get more into that on the FlyQuest episode because I think that's part of why they're being overlooked. But I think overall, just when I take Inspired out of FlyQuest, I still see a playoff team. When I take a River out of 100 Thieves, I don't know if I see an LCS team. And
wow. Okay, I don't.
on
No,
on
okay,
on paper, I don't know if I see an LCS team. Clearly, people have played really really well, and we talked about the other guys on 100 Thieves doing well, but I'd have more faith in FlyQuest to weather that storm with a different jungler than I would with 100 Thieves.
I mean you're not
I
wrong.
think that these are all a bunch of
I just
yeah.
think that you're maybe discrediting 100 Thieves players just a little bit, just a bit. I think that they are.
I'm
I
not.
River has been outstanding, but I think
Yes,
saying that you barely see them as an LCS team, I think is tough. I do
if
think
they
that
have the
individually
wrong
they are
jungler, what
playing
I mean
well.
is they're I think individually they're all playing at an LCS level. I think that's undeniable. I'm saying I could see this team being 0-9 right now with a
Yeah,
different
but I don't know
jungler.
if we have a
Not
jungler in the LCS that would be that bad. Do we right now?
I could think of a few.
Really?
But
Okay, you know what? I need one. I'm just gonna call you out. I want one name, maybe a surprise one.
I don't even think and again, I don't even think it's not someone it'd be someone who's been in the LCS before who's out of the LCS this year, but is one of the better play and I don't even think it would be a I don't even think it would be the player's bad. But like if you put Kenvi on this team, a guy who's known mostly for carry jungle stuff, this team doesn't work.
Oh well, I was talking about
River
ones
isn't
that are
just
in the
good.
LCS right now. That's what I meant.
Oh no! I'm sorry. They'd still be an LCS team, but I think if you swapped to a different jungler, like even a good jungler, like even like Boogie or something, there's a chance that this team doesn't work out the same way because the
Okay.
strengths that River bring are perfect for what this team needs. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think that River is while there's been a lot of contributing factors to 100 Thieves' success. River is the biggest single contributor, and he's if I look at one player elevating the rest of his team
It's
to a
River.
higher expectation, even if 100 Thieves is a worse team than FlyQuest, FlyQuest without Inspired is a much better team than 100 Thieves without River. I think River just more than anybody else in the league, looking at his spot on the roster, I'm confident that he pulls the most weight of anybody.
Well, you know what's funny is Nick. Like I genuinely normally am on your side. Like almost, I would say 95 times out of 100. I just think maybe it's because I just think so highly of Inspired that I think that he is pulling a lot more weight than people realize. But I mean, I don't know. You may have even convinced me with the River comment. I just wanted to, get a little
There's a
spice
great
up in
argument
there.
for
But
Inspired too, and I think
I
that
think
it's
it's
more
either
likely
of
he'd
them.
win it.
It has to be one of the two of them,
Yeah,
right? Like it really does. Like I don't think that there's anybody else who's even close to the two of them. Like it's the same way that I see FlyQuest, Big Space, and then 100 Thieves. I think that those two are the clear MVP potential candidates. Big Space, and then maybe I don't know, maybe Jensen, maybe like I think even putting him in there makes it seem like Inspired should be less, but I do think that I just think they've been playing so well together. It's freaking crazy. But
yeah,
um, yeah, man, I don't know. This has been really fun though, and I really wish we had more time to dive into this. And I think we will over these next couple weeks. Honestly, I'm excited because
yeah.
we'll get to do a FlyQuest episode. We'll figure out when it's going to be, but um, if you want to see me gush over Inspired for 30 plus minutes with Nick, um, I promise we'll talk about other players. He loves Jensen, so we'll talk about Jensen too. But I already apologize for Masu and Busio. It's not intentional, guys. It's just I just think
Yeah.
the world of these
It's
couple players, man.
Yeah, Bwipo too. I
Yeah,
can wax poetic about Bwipo for hours. So, but I'm excited to get into. We'll have time for that next week for
yeah,
sure.
it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But no, we thank you guys so much again for watching. As always, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. You know all that fun stuff that everybody else does. But we do really appreciate those of you who are watching, and we really hope that you're enjoying this. I know that we are. We're gonna do it anyways, even if you guys don't like it. Like, we're having fun, and that's what matters. Okay. No,
We would just be having this conversation with the cameras off anyway,
it's
so
so true
we might
though.
as well just
This is
yeah.
literally our friendship. It's either this or baseball. So, baseball season is coming up, but for right now, it's LCS time. So, no,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we appreciate all of you guys, and with that, we'll catch you on the next one.